You've been handed a pill for every ill, and you're still not well. That's not bad luck. That's sequencing. Your body has an order of operations. Restore what's missing first after testing, and then use natural compounds that your body has seen in evolution for millions of years. And then, as a last line, consider pharmaceuticals. You see, way too many people are jumping to the last line because of the current system that we're in. That's not medicine. That's just guessing. This is health optimization medicine in practice. I'm Dr. Daniel Tagge, a family physician, a certified health optimization medicine specialist. And in this video, we're going to talk about the hierarchy and our method for practicing health optimization medicine. Hey, so we're going to jump into some slides now about health optimization medicine in practice. A pill for every problem, and you're still not well. That's bad medicine. That's bad sequencing. So, we're going to talk about our hierarchy and two important techniques. So, we have three tiers when we're thinking about using molecules from outside the body. We have first line, second line, third line, and they are bioidenticals, phytoceuticals, and xenobiotics. Bioidenticals are molecules that your body already makes. It already knows what to do with them. They're molecularly identical to what your body uses. Your cells don't need any type of translator. Here are some examples. So we have bioidentical hormones in the different forms of certain forms of testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, and thyroid. We have bacterial species like probiotics and postbiotics that mimic what's already in our body. Lactobacillus bifido, butyrate, a short chain fatty acid, glutamine. These things can be taken. We have vitamin D, iodine, B12, magnesium, other minerals. And then we have HCl, stomach acid, bile acids, and other forms of enzymes that we can add. So this is an important tool because when we measure and we figure out what's out of balance, we can replace it back with the identical thing that's missing before we add anything new. Second line is phytoceuticals, and these are compounds that our ancestors have seen in evolution, whether through nutrition or just exposure to the environment. So we have evolutionary pathways to handle these molecules. These are plant compounds with biological activity, and we have receptors and enzymes built to interact with them. Here are some examples of the common forms of those. We have turmeric or curcumin, which modulates the NRF2 NF-kappa beta axis, which is responsible for inflammation. We have berberine, an AMPK activator that we know that improves and it can augment metabolic health. We have adaptogenic roots like ashwagandha, which can regulate the stress response. We have stimulants like in tea, ECGC, that affect metabolism and antioxidants. And then we have resveratrol in grapes that are the sirtuin activator. There's many, many more of these compounds. These are just a few examples of plants that have biochemical activity that we can use to augment our health. Last line, we have xenobiotics. And by definition, xenobiotics, these are foreign molecules by design. They're synthetic, sometimes genius, sometimes toxic, things that we've invented that our biology has never seen before. There's no evolutionary template for them. They are processed through pathways that were not necessarily designed to handle them. They can be very powerful and very costly. Here's a couple examples of those. We have statins, can be potent molecules to lower cardiovascular risk, but also have side effects of depleting CoQ10 and impairing mitochondria. We have antacids like proton pump inhibitors that some people get stuck on for way, way, way too long that suppress acid, which leads to downstream side effects like nutrient absorption issues. And then we have COX-2 inhibitors like NSAIDs, which modulate inflammation but can cause issues with the kidneys and the gut over time. So these are three examples of potent pharmaceutical xenobiotics that, when used appropriately, may benefit a certain individual, but when taken to excess or not monitored well, can lead to long-term problems. And unfortunately, not enough practitioners, providers, medical docs are reevaluating their patient medicines for de-prescription. So the pharmaceuticals can be very potent tools and can overpower our biology in some situations, whereas the more gentler ones, the bioidenticals and phytoceuticals, we have evolutionary pathways to metabolize these. And so the sequencing matters here. We want to start with the least likely to cause side effects first. The other thing that's important to understand is we think about ratios, not just single numbers. So a biomarker in isolation is just a snapshot in time. Really, what a ratio does is it gives you a relationship between two different things. And the health is in the relationships of these systems and in these networks. It's not in any one value. So here are some common ratios that we use. We think about omega 6 to omega 3 ratios, and we want to target, about 4 to 1. Many Americans are running very high in omega 6 because of dietary stuff, but there are also people who are omega 3 toxic from taking too much fish oil. This is very important as it relates to the cascade of our eicosanoids and prostaglandins, pro inflammatory and anti inflammatory signaling fatty acids. These are directly measurable. Not enough people are getting these tests done. Minerals, we have certain ratios in our diet of potassium to sodium. The kidney's brilliant, but too much sodium potentially could be a problem in the context of a lot of different issues like carbohydrates in modern diets. We can use ratios of hormones to have an understanding about how well how useful our networks are, but also our training stimulus. If cortisol is high and DHEA is low, we may be concerned about an overtraining type of syndrome in an athlete. Cortisol is a catabolic hormone. DHEA is an anabolic hormone. This is a balance, right? This is back to our definition of health. Health is the absence of disease plus the balance of anabolic and catabolic pathways. So we want to look at these ratios to have an understanding about what's going on in the body at this particular time. And ideally, you want to be comparing yourself to your old values, but then you also want to have a good benchmark, an optimal range benchmark of what it should be. And we also define that in our practice as 50 to 75 percentile of a healthy cohort, which is usually 21 to 30-year-olds. We don't want 100% of that level. We want a fraction of it. Other hormones, testosterone to estrogen ratio can become important as it relates to the pathways they interchange. And so we don't want too much aromatization. And then proteins in the blood, albumin globulin ratio can be a sign of chronic inflammation. So when we're thinking about networks, we want to consider that sometimes one upstream lever can affect a lot of downstream markers. And so we try to correct the right sequence or the right driver in that network so that we affect all of the other pieces in that puzzle. And I'm going to present a couple of examples of that. So when we think about optimizing mitochondrial health, there's a whole host of things, ways to target it from molecules. But when we're considering most effective things, exercise is obviously a very potent tool for this in mitochondrial biogenesis. So, a little bit of fasting, AMPK activation, as well as exercise can stimulate the mitochondria. And when you see that done, you notice that a lot of times you're going to get improvement in markers across the energy metabolic spectrum, like sugar and A1C and triglycerides and other cholesterol markers. With the gut is often a common source of inflammation, antibody production, cytokines like CRP and IL-6 that lead to downstream symptoms. And so when we seal or heal a leaky gut, you will see the entire downstream network of that one upstream driver improve. AMPK is this nutrient sensor in our body that's balanced with the anabolic lever of mTOR. Oftentimes, people are stuck in constitutive chronic activation of mTOR because of compulsive feeding and not enough movement. So we think about this balance, and this balance, these are what's called master regulatory genes. So each one of those compounds affects downstream genes, many of them, for certain pathways in the cell. And so we can move the entire network of the cell thinking about an upstream driver that's affecting downstream all of those changes. Methylation is another important one here where we can use the network around the methylation process of regenerating methionine from homocysteine and all of the other compounds that are related to that. That affect then energy production, gene changes on and off. Epigenetics is a big part of our practice. And lastly, another hormone here, thyroid, which has a lot of downstream effects from weight to body temp to even energy metabolites like lipids. So here in what we think about first is we restore with bioidenticals. We move into thinking about correcting ratios and moving networks, getting away from single biomarker things. We don't necessarily want to just give someone a label of diabetes with an A1C of 6.6. This is an old standard of care for disease, not health. We look at, okay, what's the network going on with their energy metabolism? Is there potentially bioidentical nutrients that we can use that can improve the metabolic process in addition to the lifestyle component that someone has, both their movement, their sun, their diet? And from a micronutrient standpoint, thinking about insulin sensitizing molecules were important for carbohydrate breakdown, like vitamin B1, alpha lipoic acid, and chromium, can go a long way to improving someone's glucose regulation so that they don't need to start a chronic GLP-1 that may limit their desire to do other things in life. We know that these molecules are very potent at affecting feeding, but given the central mechanisms, they can also affect other forms of desire. And so we want to be cautious about that, especially when we consider putting someone on something that they may have trouble getting off of. If you are interested in any of this form of care or thinking about looking at the conventional system and realizing it's falling far short of what we need in the modern era, there is a new model of care, and it's called health optimization medicine. I'm certified to practice. I've completed all of the modules. And if you're interested in working with me, please consider going to the website and booking at this point in time a free call. I would love to chat with you, whoever you are watching this video. Thanks very much.